Have you ever given someone a gift from your heart, only to have them laugh in your face? My name is Eleanor, and I'm 79 years old. This is the story of how one terrible birthday party changed everything in my family. It's about standing up for yourself, even when it's hard. Even when the people you love have forgotten how to love you back. Let me start at the beginning. I spent 3 whole weeks making a special birthday present for my granddaughter, Amber. My hands hurt from arthritis. That's when your joints get stiff and painful as you get older. But I kept working anyway, knitting 2 tiny dolls that looked like Amber and her boyfriend Logan. Inside one of the dolls, I hid something very special. My grandmother's diamond ring. It was the same diamond my husband James had given me on our 50th wedding anniversary. Amber had been dropping hints that she wanted this diamond for months. When I arrived at Amber's fancy birthday party in her expensive apartment, the doorman didn't even recognize me. I had to show my ID to get into a home I had helped pay for. That should have warned me something was wrong. Grandma Eleanor is here, my son Richard announced without even looking up from his phone. He sounded like he was announcing bad weather. The room smelled like expensive perfume. Everyone wore designer clothes and held fancy champagne glasses. I held my small gift, wrapped in paper I'd carefully chosen from the store where Amber used to work in college. Time for presents. Vanessa, my daughter-in-law, called out. Amber, darling, start with the small ones. I stepped forward, smiling nervously. Happy birthday, sweetheart. Amber took my gift with just her fingertips, like it might be dirty. Her expensive diamond bracelet sparkled in the light, a gift from Logan, who watched from across the room without much interest. Everyone got quiet as she opened the box. Inside were the 2 knitted dolls I'd worked so hard to make. Amber picked them up with 2 fingers, holding them away from her cream-colored dress. This handmade gift looks so cheap, she said loudly, so everyone could hear. Then she laughed. Grandma, you know we have a gift registry at the expensive store, right? Logan laughed too. Perfect for throwing away. The whole room burst out laughing. My son Richard laughed the loudest. Vanessa giggled. Logan's friends snorted and pointed. My face felt like it was on fire. I felt like someone had slapped me. I started to explain about the hidden diamond, about all the hours of work. Mother, Richard interrupted, putting his hand on my shoulder. Maybe we should talk about getting you some help with your money. These little crafts show you might have too much free time. I looked around the room, hoping someone would defend me. Only my grandson Thomas, standing in the corner with his camera, looked sorry for me. That small kindness almost made me cry. I left early. The sound of laughter followed me all the way home. At home, I opened my computer. There was an email from Amber with wedding bills for me to pay. She wanted to have her wedding at my beach house, the house in Cape Cod that my husband, James, and I had bought 40 years ago. The house where I had scattered his ashes after he died. We've already sent the invitations, her email said. The designer starts renovations next month. Your old furniture needs to go. My hands shook as I closed my laptop. For the first time in many years, something inside me hardened. Something that had always been soft and giving. The next morning, I got a text from Richard. Mum, found a wonderful retirement home. Made an appointment for us next week just to look. I deleted it without answering. Through my window I could see the Boston skyline. Buildings glinted in the sunshine. How many people in those buildings were making decisions about other people's lives without asking them first? Was I just another old person to be managed and controlled? I grabbed my car keys. Suddenly, I needed to see my beach house before they started changing it. The drive to Cape Cod took longer than usual. When I arrived, there was already a strange black car in my driveway. I pushed open the front door and heard voices. The wall between the kitchen and dining area can definitely come down. a woman was saying. Mrs. Thompson won't mind. She's barely here anyway. Actually, I do mind, I said quietly. Amber, Vanessa, and a fancy-looking woman with a tablet all spun around to look at me. Double Keltner. What a lovely surprise. Vanessa said quickly. We were just discussing some small changes for the wedding. Knocking down a wall is not a small change, I said, setting my purse on the counter. Who said you could do this? Grandma, Amber said sweetly. Remember last Christmas? You said we could use the house and make it perfect for the ceremony. I said you could see it, I replied. I never said you could tear it apart. The designer spoke to me like I was a small child who didn't understand. The property has good bones, but the style is very old-fashioned. I walked to the window overlooking the ocean. James and I had saved for 10 years to buy this view. The designer followed me, showing me pictures on her tablet. We're thinking white everywhere. Walls, furniture, everything. Clean, minimal, perfect for Instagram photos. On the fireplace mantel, I noticed something terrible. The photograph of James and me on our 40th anniversary was gone. In its place was a poster board labeled Hamptons Chic. Where's my photograph? I asked. Vanessa looked around vaguely. Oh. We carefully packed away some personal items during renovations. That night, after they left, I searched the house. In the garage, I found 3 boxes labeled Eleanor's things. Inside was my photograph, James's books, our anniversary album, and the knitted dolls from Amber's party, just tossed in carelessly. The diamond was still hidden inside. My phone rang. It was Richard. Mum, about that retirement home tour. I can't talk now, Richard. It's important we plan your future. The fees have a waiting list. He paused. Vanessa and I were thinking, since the beach house will mostly be used for family events anyway, maybe it should be transferred to a family trust. Just for tax purposes, of course. His voice was smooth and rehearsed. I recognized that tone. He used it in his lawyer job when trying to trick people into agreeing with him. I need to go, I said, and hung up. On my kitchen table, I found a brochure I hadn't put there. Seaside Retirement Living. Someone had circled a floor plan in red marker with a note in Vanessa's handwriting. Perfect for Mum. They were already dividing up my life into pieces. And I had been letting them. Your blood pressure is worrying. Eleanor, Dr. Matthews said, looking at my chart through his glasses. It's much higher than your last visit. Any unusual stress lately? I almost laughed. Where would I start? My granddaughter embarrassing me in public. My son trying to steal my money. Strangers redecorating my home without permission. Some family tension, I said quietly. Dr. Matthews took off his stethoscope. At your age, stress isn't just uncomfortable. It's dangerous. I've seen patients your age end up in the hospital after family fights caused heart problems. His words hung in the air. I had survived my husband's death and breast cancer in my 60s. Would I let my family's betrayal be what finally hurt me? I'm changing how I deal with certain relationships, I said carefully. Later that day, I met my oldest friend Judith for lunch. She listened quietly as I told her everything that had happened. And the diamond? She finally asked. Still inside the doll. They didn't even look closely enough to find it. Judith set down her fork. Eleanor, this isn't just disrespect. They're trying to control your money and property. Richard wants a family trust. Once your properties are in a trust he controls, you'll only get an allowance from your own money. She leaned forward. Has he asked for power of attorney yet? I nodded. 3 times since Christmas. Thank God you said no. She reached for my hand. Eleanor, I've watched you give everything to that family. Your time, your money, your energy. What are you getting back? The question hit me hard. What was I getting? Not respect. Not consideration. Not even basic thankfulness. They're my family, I said weakly. No, they're people taking advantage of your kindness. There's a difference. That evening, my grandson Thomas called. Grandma, are you okay? You left the party so suddenly. His concern warmed something in me that had gone cold. I'm fine, dear. Just tired. I heard Dad talking about the beach house. Are they really planning big changes without asking you? So Thomas had noticed. In a family of takers, he was the only one who seemed troubled. They seemed to have many plans I wasn't asked about, I said. There was a pause. Grandma, I found something you should see. Dad left some papers in the printer. Financial statements. They don't look good. I gripped the phone tighter. What kind of statements? Investment losses. Notices about second mortgages. I think they might be counting on your money to save them. As we talked, I checked my online banking. Someone had tried to log into my account 3 times from a computer I didn't recognize. The pieces were falling into place. This wasn't just about a wedding venue. This was about desperation and taking advantage, disguised as family concern. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept seeing Amber holding those knitted dolls with 2 fingers, her face showing disgust. The diamond inside could have paid for her entire wedding if she'd bothered to look. Maybe it was time I stopped looking for good qualities in them too. The next morning, I called Marcus Cooper, a lawyer who had been my husband James's friend. He agreed to meet me for coffee. James would be troubled by what's happening. Marcus said after I explained everything, James expected better from his son. I replied. Marcus looked at the financial papers Thomas had sent me. These investment losses are huge, plus a second mortgage and credit card debt. Richard is drowning in debt, and you're the life raft. What should I do? I asked. Protect yourself. Immediately. He leaned forward. Where are your properties now? I told him about my Boston house and the Cape Cod beach house. Both were in my name alone. Keep it that way, he said. Now, about this wedding happening at your beach house without your real permission, you have options. Legal options. Such as? It's your property, Eleanor. You could refuse to host the wedding. I imagined the family drama. The accusations. The stress Dr. Matthews had warned about. That would create a lot of conflict, I said. Yes, Marcus agreed. But there are other approaches. More final ones. That single word, final, stuck with me. For months, I'd been defending myself against their moves. Maybe it was time for a more decisive action. I'm listening, I said. What exactly are you looking for? Jennifer Maxwell, the real estate agent, asked. A buyer who can close quickly and values privacy, I replied. Jennifer studied my face. I know a few potential buyers who've been looking for exactly that location. A private sale could speed things up considerably. How quickly? With the right buyer? Maybe 45 days, maybe less. I nodded. Perfect. That afternoon I drove to Cape Cod alone. I walked through every room of the beach house, remembering. Richard learning to swim. Thomas building sandcastles. Amber's 16th birthday party on the beach dot in the master bedroom. I found more evidence of their plans. New curtain samples. Paint colors taped to the wall. A floor plan showing my bedroom turned into the bridal suite. I sat on the porch swing James had built, watching waves crash on the shore. This had been our special place. Now it felt like a battleground. My phone buzzed. A text from Richard. Mum, need to discuss important financial strategy. Dinner tomorrow. I didn't respond. Instead, I called Jennifer. I'd like to list the property immediately. 2 days later, Jennifer called. I have an interested buyer. A tech entrepreneur and his wife. They'll pay full price if we can close in 40 days and keep it completely private. Tell them yes, I said without hesitation. The first sign that my family discovered my plans came at 11:23 p.m. My phone exploded with notifications. 3 missed calls from Richard. 7 text messages from Amber. The last one was in all capital letters. Please tell me this isn't true. I turned off my phone and slept better than I had in months. Morning brought Richard to my doorstep. Still in his running clothes, face red with anger. What are you doing? He demanded. Good morning, Richard. Coffee? I don't want coffee. Jennifer Maxwell? A private sale? What were you thinking? I poured myself a cup slowly. I was thinking it's time to simplify my life by selling our family beach house weeks before Amber's wedding. My beach house, I corrected gently. And yes, Richard ran his hand through his hair. You can't do this. We've sent invitations, made deposits. The venue can't be changed now. Then you should start looking for alternatives. His face got darker. This is about the birthday party, isn't it? Amber's comment? She was joking, Mother. You're overreacting. I sipped my coffee calmly. This isn't about one comment, Richard. This is about a pattern of behavior. Yours included. What are you talking about? The retirement home brochures. The financial meetings you arranged without me. The unauthorized attempts to access my accounts. His expression changed. Those were for your benefit. I'm old, not stupid, I interrupted. And I'm certainly not senile, though I imagine that story might help you. Richard's calm mask cracked. Mom, please. I'm in trouble. The business deal failed. Investors are threatening to sue if I don't find money. So this is about money, I said. Not concern for me. It's both, he insisted, but his eyes looked away. How much do you need? His answer, a huge number, confirmed everything. The sale closes in 5 weeks, I told him. The money will go into accounts you can't access. You would do this to your own family. To me? To me? I walked to the window. You've left me no choice, Richard. You've shown me exactly how much respect you have for me. That's not fair. I turned to face him. When was the last time any of you asked what I wanted, instead of telling me what I needed? His silence was my answer. That afternoon, Amber arrived. Her eyes were red from crying. Logan is freaking out, she said. His parents are embarrassed. Do you know how this makes us look? The old me would have apologized and tried to fix everything. But that woman was gone. About as bad as I looked when you mocked my gift in front of everyone. I replied calmly. Amber flinched. That was different. So am I being different now? The house is sold. The wedding needs a new venue. But why would you do this to me? I studied my granddaughter. Beautiful, privileged, and completely blind to anyone's feelings but her own. I'm not doing anything to you. Amber, I'm doing something for myself. As she left, storming out dramatically, I felt no satisfaction. Only a quiet certainty that I was finally standing up for myself after decades of putting everyone else first. That evening, I received an unexpected visitor, Logan, Amber's fiancé. Mrs. Thompson, he began awkwardly. I wanted to talk to you directly. I invited him in, curious about this unprecedented solo visit. I came to apologize, he said, surprising me, for laughing at your gift. It was disrespectful. I studied him, searching for tricks behind the apology. Why now? He looked down at his expensive shoes. Because I'm starting to see things differently. The way everyone's reacting to your decision. It's shown me a side of this family I hadn't noticed before. For the first time, I glimpsed something real in this young man. A recognition, perhaps, of the world he was marrying into. Careful observation is an undervalued skill, I told him. He nodded. standing to leave. For what it's worth, Mrs. Thompson, I think I understand why you're doing this. After he left, I called Marcus to confirm the sale was proceeding as planned. Whatever emotional storms might be coming, my course was set. 3 weeks before the scheduled closing date, Jennifer Maxwell called with news. The buyers want to close earlier. They're offering an additional $50,000 if we can close in 10 days. I hesitated only briefly. Tell them yes. That evening, I invited Thomas to dinner, knowing I needed one ally in the family chaos that would surely follow. The sale is happening sooner, I told him. Next week. He set down his fork. That's decisive. It feels right. I studied my grandson's face. You're the only one I've told. Why me? Because you're the only one who sees me as a person rather than a resource. Thomas pushed his glasses up his nose, a gesture so reminiscent of James that my heart tightened. They're planning an intervention, you know. Dad, Mum, Amber. They think you're having some kind of breakdown. I almost laughed. Of course they do. It's easier to believe I'm mentally sick than to accept I'm making conscious choices they don't like. What will you do? Stand my ground. Later that night, I received a text from Richard. Family dinner tomorrow, 7 p.m. my house. Important matters to discuss. The trap was being laid. I replied with a simple, I'll be there, then called Marcus. They're planning an intervention, I told him. Likely to build a case that I'm not mentally fit to manage my affairs. Are you sure you want to attend? His concern was evident. Absolutely. Running would only strengthen their story. The following evening I dressed with particular care. A tailored navy suit James had always admired. Pearl earrings, light makeup. The woman in the mirror looked strong, clear-eyed, not remotely confused or incompetent. Richard's house was lit up like a stage when I arrived. Through the window, I could see them assembled. Richard pacing nervously. Vanessa arranging food no one would eat. Amber dabbing at her eyes dramatically. Only Thomas, standing slightly apart, seemed uncomfortable with the performance. I rang the doorbell. Richard opened it, his welcoming smile not reaching his eyes. Mum, thank you for coming. We've been so worried. The living room fell silent as I entered. On the coffee table lay printouts of retirement communities, business cards for elder law attorneys, and most tellingly, blank power of attorney documents. Eleanor, Vanessa stepped forward, her voice dripping with fake concern. We're here because we love you. Are you? I set my purse down calmly. How interesting. Richard cleared his throat. Mum, we're concerned about your recent decisions. They seem impulsive, potentially harmful. You mean selling my own property? Exactly, Amber interjected. 3 weeks before my wedding. It's cruel and it makes no sense. I surveyed the room. These people who claim to love me while systematically dismissing my choices. I disagree. It makes perfect sense to remove myself from situations where I'm not respected. Richard exchanged glances with Vanessa. Mum, stress and age can affect judgment. We're just suggesting some protections. For whom, Richard? Me or your financial interests? The room went still. Thomas, from his corner position, couldn't suppress a small smile. I know about the failed business deal, I continued. The second mortgage. The credit card debt. I know you've been trying to access my accounts. Richard's face lost all color. Who told you? Does it matter? What matters is that you thought you could manipulate me instead of simply asking for help. Vanessa stepped forward. Eleanor, you're clearly confused. I've never been clearer, I interrupted. The house will be sold next week. The money will remain under my control. And this performance you've arranged, it only confirms I've made the right decision. I stood, gathering my purse. I have scheduled appointments with my doctor and my lawyer tomorrow. Both will document my mental fitness in case any of you are considering legal challenges. As I walked to the door, Amber called after me, her voice breaking. What about my wedding? I turned back one last time. What about my dignity? The silence that followed me out was more satisfying than any further argument could have been. The day of the closing arrived with perfect late summer weather. Clear skies, gentle breeze, the kind of day that had always made the beach house feel like heaven on earth. I signed the final papers in Marcus's office, his presence providing both legal security and moral support. Congratulations, he said as I completed the last signature. The wire transfer will be complete by end of day. I felt no triumph, only a strange mixture of sadness and freedom. 40 years of memories now belonged to someone else. That my future remained firmly in my own hands. That evening, Thomas came for dinner at my Boston home. I handed him an envelope over dessert. What's this? He asked, opening it to find a check with his name. A gift for your photography business. His eyes widened at the amount. Grandma, this is too much. I can't. You can and you will. I reached for his hand. James always said you had an artist's eye. He would have wanted to support your passion. Thomas blinked rapidly. Does Dad know about this? No, and it's not his business. I sipped my tea. You're the only one who saw me, Thomas. The only one who bothered to look beneath the surface. Later that night, as expected, my phone exploded with notifications. The family grapevine had clearly spread news of the completed sale. Richard's voicemail was coldly professional. Mother, I'm disappointed you've proceeded with this reckless action. We need to discuss damage control immediately. Vanessa's message dripped with martyrdom. Eleanor, I hope you realize what you've done to this family. Amber is absolutely devastated. Amber herself sent 16 increasingly frantic text messages ending with, My life is ruined and it's your fault. I silenced my phone and slept peacefully. The following morning, I met with a different real estate agent, a woman specializing in properties for active seniors. We toured 3 condominiums, all with security, amenities, and proximity to cultural attractions I'd long neglected. This one has the best views, she said, as we stood in a corner unit on the 15th floor, overlooking the Charles River, and the security is exceptional. I studied the space. Open, light-filled, completely unlike my current home with its dark wood and heavy furniture. It's perfect. By afternoon, I'd made an offer. By evening, it was accepted. Richard arrived unannounced at my door just after 8 p.m., his expression angry. You're buying property without consulting me. After everything that's happened? I let him in, maintaining a calm I didn't entirely feel. I wasn't aware I needed your permission to choose my own home. That's not... He stopped, visibly gathering himself. Mother, I'm trying to help you. No, Richard, you're trying to control me. There's a difference. He paced my living room, clearly agitated. The family is in crisis. Amber's wedding is in shambles. Logan's parents are threatening to withdraw their support entirely. Those sound like problems for Amber and Logan to solve. How can you be so cold? This is your granddaughter's future. I studied my son, this man I'd raised, whose moral compass had somehow gone so far off course. Richard, when exactly did my existence become solely about supporting everyone else's dreams without regard for my own? That's not fair, isn't it? You planned to move me to a retirement home without my consent. You attempted to access my accounts without permission. You arranged an intervention based on lies about my mental fitness. All because I made decisions you didn't like. He had no answer for this. The new property closes in 3 weeks, I told him. I'll be downsizing considerably. You and Vanessa should come select any furniture or items you'd like, before I arrange for estate sales. You're really going through with all this? It wasn't a question, but I answered anyway. Yes, Richard. I really am. After he left, I stood at my window watching the city lights, feeling a strange mixture of grief and determination. I was losing my family, or perhaps more accurately, discovering they had never truly valued me the way I deserved. My phone chimed with a text from Thomas. Just heard about the new place. Proud of you, Grandma. Need help packing? At least one bridge remained intact among the burning ruins of my family relationships. It would have to be enough.